All right, but so just introduce yourself. So it'll be rank name or
Yeah.
and so rank name and then um that you served at
Mm.
Kabul airport. So they'll
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
like the introduction.
Yeah. Got you.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Uh, I'm HM3FMF. Last name Bleep. Uh, I'm a corpsman. My name is Blake. I served with 2-1 on the Special MAGTF. I was a first responder at Kabul airport.
Cool. All right, but so we'll just freaking we'll start from like I guess where you're from originally, your
Mhm.
childhood,
Yeah.
and then maybe high school, and then why you joined the Marine Corps, and then
Yeah.
start from there. So you said you're from just outside of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah. I'm closer to New Orleans, a place called Covington,
Okay.
Louisiana. Um, I grew up. We got into skateboarding, which like wasn't like a thing
Yeah.
in Louisiana in the '90s. Kind of a punk. Came from a pretty good family, middle class. My dad was a construction home worker, electrician. Um, come from a mixed family, so my mom had her kids, and then my dad had his kids, and they met at church. And then I'm the only one from that marriage, but we all grew up in the same household. So I've everybody I call brother and sister, but
Yeah.
they're technically half.
Yeah.
Um, and the four that were still in the house that weren't in college, we got into skateboarding, and then one brother was into BMX. And we used to have a dog, and there was no leash laws. We used to pal around town. We lived pretty close to downtown Covington, and skating on curbs and getting yelled at and stuff.
Yeah. How many siblings did you have?
I used to have 5 siblings. Two passed away though.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Sorry to hear that,
I
man.
appreciate that.
So so I grew up skateboarding, and did you play any sports like in high school?
Yeah. So started off playing like t-ball, soccer, all that stuff, and then started going to a Christian school that started a football program, and I really like football. I was always too aggressive in soccer, and they
Yeah.
put me in. I wasn't very, strategically minded for football. My
Yeah.
running back would always like school me on Madden. Uh, I just like to hit.
Yeah.
I was a linebacker. It was a small team. I was an offensive lineman, and then I wound up playing fullback. And yeah, and then
Nice.
Katrina came and actually moved up to Utah, and I played
Mm.
football up in Utah. They call me Bayou. It was an interesting time.
I remember that. I remember Katrina. Because I guess we were like in high school around the same time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember that we had this one chick in our class that moved to Jersey because of
yeah,
Katrina and all that.
yeah.
Yeah, right on. And so you moved to Utah. Did you ever end up moving back to?
Yeah, I got in a little trouble, a little high school trouble. Moved back to Louisiana, did like half my senior year there, graduated,
Yeah.
didn't do anything good, and tried community college, got in a little bit more trouble, and then my brother was a 0311, and always kind of stuck in the back of my head, like, man, that was. I remember him graduating boot camp in MCRD San Diego. Just like, oh man, how high did the ranks go? All these
Hmm.
drill instructors like gunnies and staff sergeants and master. I'm like, oh shit, how many ranks are there? I thought that was really cool. And my other brother was like, yeah, they have Force Recon, which is like Navy SEALs. I just thought that was really cool shit.
He was Force Recon.
No, but
Oh, okay.
he's graduating boot camp, and
Okay.
my other brother's telling me about Force Recon.
Mm.
This is 1999
Wow.
or 2000, before Iraq, anything like that,
Yeah.
and all that stuff wasn't popular. I just thought that was really cool, and
Yeah.
so I'm getting in trouble in the back of my head, like I'm gonna get in shape and go to the Marine Corps, and the trouble didn't keep me out, but it was definitely an obstacle. Um, I had to clear that all up, and then I went to boot camp, Marine Corps boot camp in 2009, right after my 21st birthday, and went to SOI down the street, Camp Pendleton School of Infantry, and then I went to 29 Palms. And I remember telling my brother, like, yeah, man, they're sending me 29 Palms. I just hear him like pull the phone away. That place sucks. I know. I enjoy my time in 29 Palms. There's a lot of good training. A lot of good training.
What and that the year was 2009 when you joined.
Joined 2009. I don't know if you knew about recruiter assistance.
Yeah.
They put us all on recruiter assistance for like 30 days.
Okay.
And then I classed up in SOI after Christmas. Yeah, went to SOI in 2010, and then went to 1-7 after that.
1-7, nice. And then you're saying that when you were with 1-7, you deployed to the Sangin Valley,
Yeah, I did the 31st
Afghanistan.
MU as a boot, and then as a lance criminal, I went to Sangin as a 240 gunner. Really, at when we were together as weapons platoon, I was like squad leader, co-squad leader, and then by the time we integrated in all of the line company, it had like boiled down to like I got my ammo bag, 800 rounds, and a 240. I'm a leader of my own gun, so
Yeah.
it was humbling, you know. Um, Being in a leadership position and just like here's the fucking gun, but it was cool. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people want that. A lot of
Yeah.
people want the 240, and I definitely wanted the 240. But it was definitely a humbling experience going to, talking to my leadership as a leader, and then just be like, I'm gonna set up my 240 over there. Like, got it, bud.
Yeah. Nice. And then your original MOS was a machine gunner.
0331.
Nice. And how was that deployment? Did your unit take any like casualties or
Yeah,
anything like that?
yeah. So at the beginning, it was very quiet. I think we ripped with 3.5. I'm not positive on that, but they had found a lot of caches, IED caches. So it was very quiet at first, and we weren't finding IEDs. We weren't in contact. It was off fighting season, and then got into a first firefight out in the cornfields and the poppy fields before Ramadan, and then our platoon got in trouble because Sergeant Major came out to our fob and we didn't have haircuts and like 3-day old beards and shit. And so he pulls us off the fob. He puts another platoon out there, and they're not used to working with the ANSAF or whatever people were in that area and the locals. And it was Ramadan, so the ANSAF doesn't want to do anything in the daytime, and they only want to operate at night. And our ROEs were pretty much like hang tight at night unless you have to, guard your fob, and go out in the daytime and do your patrols. Well, that didn't work with them, and so they almost burned down the fob. Like they were saying, there's going to be a revolt. The ANSAF's not working with them, and so they didn't patrol for whatever 20 days we got pulled off the fob. We come back, and that was our area. We own that area, and we go back and we go out on patrol. My fucking 0351 is like, hey, we got one. We got fuck, and we're like 5 minutes out. Call EOD. EOD comes out, blows it. All right, continue on the patrol. Hey, we got another one. And like EOD's pretty much patrolling with us on that one because it's just like, hey, we're just gonna keep finding them. And we're just laced. They laced while no one was going out patrolling. The ANSAF was doing Ramadan. They just laced everything up with IEDs. Luckily, we found, I would assume, most of them, and we didn't get tagged. And then yeah, we're going out on another patrol, and as we're leaving that fob, a different fob, there's pop shots going off, and my staff sergeant, I'm a gunner of myself, right? I'm my 240, my rounds. You need an A gunner, someone to assist you, and my staff sergeant's like, I want to be your A gunner. I liked him. I was like, sick. That's rad. And it's two elements, and we peel out of the compound. Not anything like crazy, but like we start our walk out the compound. One element goes over there, we go over here, and we take some rounds. And I don't think I fired yet, but I move up. But you could definitely see me like with my 240. And I move up, and my staff sergeant, I think, was in my place. I'm not trying to say the goalie, but he got hit in the leg.
Okay.
And they're like, fuck, he's hit. I'm like, where? And we thought head. We thought we heard head at first. We're like, fuck. And then he got hit, of course, super close to his femoral artery. Kazvac pretty quickly. Doc took care of him. Patrol a little bit more. And then pretty much from that point on, it was just we go out, we get into a little firefight, come back, and then at the end, we finally got a dude. So we had a kid with 2 cell phones. Like kind of wrap this kid up, and that's like usually a good sign. Like, why does this little kid have 2 cell phones, communication devices with the bad guys? And Saf Spooky, like, what's up? And we also have Wolfcom with us. They're like, hey, unofficially, like, there's some ambushes and shit. We're getting intercepting comms. Like, all right, we keep pushing up. And our engineer is like way up front. My buddy Dickerson, our squad leader, is way up front too. And we start taking off rounds. And like the little video maze is like me running down a fucking path in the cornfield. I'll roll up, get down, fucking blast some corn in the general direction, suppression by fire. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And they're like, Aleo shot a dude. I was like, oh fuck. Hell yeah, dude. We're like high-fiving and shit. I go up, basically do a dead check. I mean, yeah, I do a dead check, but like I don't shoot the guy anymore. He's just like guts blown out, fucking AK on his side. I'm just like, yep, we got him. I hold security up in front of him. Like, hey, ANSAF, pick up this dead dude. Like, we're not picking up a dead guy. Like, all right, what's the call? And like, RTB, return to base. So we're heading back, and they're like, hey, they need pictures in his gun. I think we already had the gun, but like, we need pictures. Dickerson got a co-kill. Aleo started him off, and then the guy goes to get up with his gun. Dickerson finishes him off. So Dickerson's like flying. I wouldn't say high, but he's pumping, right? He's fucking, outer body experience. I remember this so vividly. He's like, we got to go back. I'm like, all right, fuck it, let's go. And I take lead. He's like, fuck no, you're not taking lead with a machine gun. He's like, I'm taking lead. I'm like, all right. And he swears he was running so fast, but he's doing this like budge shuffle right in front of me. And I've talked to him many times about it. He's like, dude, I was like flying. I wasn't even walking. I was like, you were going so slow. You're doing this little duck walk. And he's like, I felt like not cloud 9, but he's like, I was just floating. And we took photos and came back. And our lieutenant, who we weren't too fond of, just couldn't get into a firefight for the life of him. And like, it was our last patrol. The dudes from the next unit were there waiting for us to like do a turnover. Mm-hmm. And we fucking got one, like high-fiving. You could tell he's like upset. He didn't get his combat action ribbon that deployment. And we were kind of stoked on that. Poor guy. He's one of the people I really, I wouldn't fight him, but I don't think I'd shake his hand. Yeah, he was not a good leader, but we had a good staff sergeant. We had a great gunny. We had all these good first sergeant CO. All those dudes were really good. It's just he was not my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So seeing that the dead Taliban dude.
Yeah.
Was that the first time you ever seen like someone dead?
I mean, besides a funeral, yeah.
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 What did that feel like?
It was excitement. And, I wasn't educated. I was, I think, 23 at the time. Every time I go to Afghan, I learn something new. And I just remember being out in the poppy fields and like, what is this all about? And like a high-ranking dude would come by and they'd like burn a certain section of visibility of poppy fields. I'm like, yeah, that's going to do it. And so it was cool in the fact like, yeah, we did the thing. We got some. Later on, I paid. That was rough for me. I'm Christian. My religion is Christian, and I did a lot of meditating and thinking about like if I ever met that person's family, what would I say to them? What would they say to me of what that child was, that baby at one point? And that was a rough toll on me for a while. And that really changed my perspective. I had been out of the military on my own. I was missing my tribe and my brothers. And I just gave that a lot of thought. If someone comes to my country and goes out to my dad's, property and knocks on their door and say, hey, we hear your son's in the military. we're invading force. We need you to give him up. My dad's not gonna give him up. You know, he's gonna stick by my side, and that's what we were asking of the locals. Hey, we want your cousin, your brother, your whatever. We hear he's a rebel Taliban. We want you to turn him over. No. And so for us being there, reasons still pretty much unclear to me. It was hard for this kill to be justified in certain aspects. Granted, he was trying to kill us. That's one aspect. But another aspect is, why were we there? Why are we fighting this dude in his homeland? He could have been, you know, some dude from somewhere else, because that was a popular thing, paid fighters. But that, at the time, it was nothing, absolutely nothing. Didn't it was We're fucking stoked, absolutely stoked. And then later on, you know, even just talking about it and like, oh, dude, you should have dead checked him with your pistol. Like, oh yeah, should have got in on that kill. And like, one of our buddies made a video. It was fucking cool. We're fucking stoked. And then I'm out of the military, and my buddy posts this video, and I had Facebook at the time, and it's like me running. It's my GoPro. It's like me shooting a cornfield, and then the next thing, it's this dead dude, and it looks like I killed the guy, which I didn't shoot him. Like, I remember one of my buddies was like, "Yo, dude, you blasted somebody." I was like, "No, that's..."
Yeah.
And I remember hitting up my buddy. I still talk to him. I was like, "Yo, dude, you gotta take this video down. It looks like I did." He's like, "Yo, fuck it, dude, that shit's tight. Take it, take credit." That's not the type of person I am, but I felt very responsible for that, because third platoon had GoPros the entire time, and we were good Marines, and we didn't have GoPros because we were told not to. But we're closing down our camp. We're changing over, and they're like, "Yo, check this out." And third platoon shows me their video, their moto video. It's like my boot. It was a 240 gunner. He's like, got his 240 on a wall, just kicking up dust, laying down, suppressing fire, IEDs going off, all this. I'm like, yo, that's fucking cool. Let's bust out the GoPros. Like, let me borrow your GoPro. You're done patrolling. And so I got a GoPro. I got someone with a SIM card, and we fucking geared up. And then our sergeant, who wasn't very good, we were like, hey, man the radio. My buddy Dickerson was fourth squad leader, but we had boiled down with Advon. We had sent fourth squad, not fourth squad, but we had sent dudes home, so we're now three. So my buddy, who used to be a full-on squad leader, is now a team leader. I'm like, all right, Sergeant Melson, just sit on the radio. We're gonna go out. And I was the one like really pushing it, like, let's get out there, let's get this done. And fucking serendipity, dude, we get the only like confirmed kill of the deployment, besides like, you know, HIMARS, all that stuff, like in-person kill. We were stoked at first, but later on, I felt like I paid the price. I talked to my buddies. One of them's like off in the ether, fucking Aleo is out somewhere doing some contract and shit, fucking gnarly stuff. I don't really know. My buddy Dickerson, quiet life. You know, has a daughter, and he seems to be fine. He went to snipers after that. He didn't deploy, but he was a pig for a while, and yeah, seems to be doing all right. I haven't seen him in person in a while. I definitely want to bring him in and, you know, talk to him.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm long-winded. My bad.
Yeah. All right. So then, so that was what, like 2010 when you went out there?
2012.
2012.
Yeah,
Okay.
2012 towards the.
Right on. And then you probably got out like
13.
2013.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then, and you were telling me while I was cutting your hair that you were out for 4 years.
About 4 years, yeah.
4 years.
Enough for me to not retain my rank, even though there was a mix-up at MEPS where they said I did retain my rank, and it was a whole shit show. But like, eventually, I sent it up to the Board of Naval Corrections. They're like, we don't see that you're you know, E4, and I'm like, all right. And this, yeah, within like a week or so, checking into 2-1, I picked up E4 again, HM3. Yeah.
So in those 4 years that you were out,
Uh-huh.
What was your life like? What did you do?
So my parents thought they were doing me a favor, and I appreciate my parents. but they had some property out in the country about 30 minutes away. They're like, hey, just go out there. So I was very isolated at first.
Yeah.
Got a girlfriend, and that was a good time. Unemployed for a while, had a little bit of money saved up, and then wound up getting a job at a lumber company as a lumber rep. My dad's a home builder, and that helped. That nepotism helped, and worked there for a while, and didn't really jive. The company was not doing well. And I went and did trim carpentry, which I actually really enjoyed for a guy that used to work for my dad. And times were tough. Pay wasn't always consistent. And I wound up working for my dad. I got a company truck, and that was just really rough for me. That relationship, me and my dad's relationship wasn't always the best. I definitely loved him, but it was he was the boss, and so that was hard for me. I wound up quitting, moving to Oregon, and in Oregon, I didn't get in trouble, but I just wasn't doing well. I was very isolated, and I got this bug in my ass that I'm gonna be a Navy SEAL. Before I moved to Oregon, I went on a Appalachian Trail with a Navy SEAL that just got out, and that definitely, for 2 months, I think, we just sat there and swapped stories about how his life worked, and I related to him. I was like, "You ever wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, grab your gear, go out to the grinder, stage your gear, wait for 7 tons. They're late. Get there at 9 or 10. Go out to the desert, stage your gear, train into the day, eat some hot rats, dig a trench, and sleep in it." He's like, "Nah, dude. We fly in, get the Land Cruisers from the rental place, go to a private school, get taught by some professional, wear civvies in a hotel, and learn the course, and then we roll out." I was like, "That's wildly different." He's like, "Yeah, it's real man shit." Like,
Yeah.
and that's what I wanted. That's what I'm a Bud's dad. I wanted that. I wanted. I don't know. You treat a prisoner like a prisoner, he's gonna be a prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
You treat
Yeah.
me like a man, I'm gonna be a man. But you
Yeah.
treat me like a little kid that needs my hand held. And is
Mm-hmm.
your Arrive Alive card? Did you sign your fucking 96 paperwork and all that shit?
Yeah.
I didn't dig it.
Right on. So then, after those 4 years, you became friends with that dude, and then you spoke to a Navy recruiter, and
Yeah,
then
finally talked to a guy because I had talking to him throughout the years. Different scouts is what they're called. And I would say about 2 years in, I talked to a guy. He's just like, "Nah, dude, like we don't accept Marines." I'm like, "Oh fuck." And then wound up, I think that was the actual recruiter. And then I talked to the scout. He's like, "Man, if you got it where it counts, I'll take a look. We'll see what we can do." I never got my shit together. I was in a serious relationship with another girl. Never got my shit together. And then once I was single and training and getting back into shape, quit drinking, started running a lot and swimming a lot and talking to my buddies that were in, and seeing what I needed. And I was doing dumb shit. I would charge my goggles, which means like fill up your goggles.
mm-hmm.
And I went for like a 3 mile run with like charged goggles because
Like, what do you mean, like with water in it?
yeah.
Okay.
So I've like encapsulate the nose and the eyes like a diver's goggle. I
Uh
put water in and I strap it on. I go for a 3 mile run because I misunderstood a story. Like, and my buddy was like, I think you're like overdoing it, man. You might be ready." I was like, "Dude, I hope that's what it takes." But yeah, people saw me like running through a neighborhood
Just
with like
breathing through your mouth and
breathing
shit.
through my mouth. Like the water's like slowly seeping out. So it's like down to here. I'm like trying to look up through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me some story I misinterpreted, and he's like, "Damn, dude."
I just running down the street, looking all crazy and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Right on. So, what year did you go to Buds?
2018, and processed at Navy boot camp. You don't actually go through boot camp, but you kind of mirror it a little bit. Uh, so I had the option to drive. They're like, "You want to take your car?" I'm like, "Of course." So they give me a little money to drive, whatever per diem. I show up there in about 3 days after the whole MEPS nonsense, and I get there. I'm just like walking around. They're like, "Make sure you have a button up." And I have like this real thick fleece button up. I'm like walking in like the admiral's office and like talking to the secretary, and they're like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" I'm like, I'm prior service, trying to check in. I'm walking all around. This is January, and eventually someone calls me. It's just like, where are you? I'm like, I'm building 3. I don't know. He's like, stop, just stop. And they come and pick me up, in process through, get through that debacle again. And there's a lot of dudes. They're not. I'm thinking everybody's going to be a fucking prior service going to buds or some shit. They're all prior service, whether Navy, Army, couple of Marines, and one dude wanted to be PMO. He wanted to be a police dog handler. Another dude wanted to be an investigator. And then one dude was a SWIT candidate, prior Navy, just came back in. There was 2 Marines behind me that actually became SEALs. Good dudes. Handful of dudes prior service didn't make it. You know, it's common. 80% fail. So in process through, and then I go through prep, which is like boot camp 2.0. And I didn't go through boot camp. It was very shocking for me to be like back on a military base in like a barracks room. And but I check into prep, which was out there. Shit. Was out there. And they're like, all right, your duty section today, you can't leave the building except for chow. It's like, what? This is shocking. I felt like a rat trapped in a cage, and I had like kettlebells in my car, and like went and grabbed my like, can I go get my shit in my car? Like, yeah, just go. I was like doing farmers carries up and down the ladder well, and they're like, fuck yeah, hell yeah, dude. Kind of barely graduate prep. My runs were very slow, and also I missed 20 days of prep. And they're like, oh, you can't miss 21. We'll get you in. I was like, you sure you don't want to like roll me? Like, let me get in better shape. And they're like, no, dude, you good. Okay.
So prep is just getting you prepared for buds.
Yeah, you're in the pipeline, and it's SWIC and SEAL candidates, and it was in Chicago, and it's so I said I dropped out in phase, right? So was 800 division. It's all the people with the contracts. It's diver, EOD, SEAL candidates, and search and rescue candidates, and they go through like a little bit harder division of boot camp, and then you graduate that boot camp, and then you go to prep, and prep is to get you in shape, and you get certain liberties. Oh, you can wear civilian attire because you passed your PRT. You know, you did your run and your swim fast enough. We'll give you this liberty. You can go out in town in your civvies. And then you graduate prep and you go to the buds compound, and you're in buds orientation, and it's not as mean. It's still more mentorship. You can have more of a conversation with the instructors. You're learning how buds works. And then you have breakout on I think it's called breakout. You have breakout on the first morning of buds phase, and you go to the grinder where the flippers are, and you get beat down. You have to, if you get fuck what, and you go up to the front, and you crawl through a Zodiac full of ice and ice water. You have to get under the tubes, and you come out, and then you run around. You go back, and there's so much going on. I was confused. I like did it twice. I was only supposed to do it once. Yeah. And then at that point, those instructors aren't there for mentorship. Those instructors are there to boil you up and boil you out, and they don't give a fuck. And I remember
this is buds, or this is prep?
buds.
Okay,
this is buds. This is phase, first phase.
Okay.
I remember an instructor, our whatever the lead instructor was called, he's like, buds isn't fair, war isn't fair. Get your head around it. All right, yeah, I get it. So it was an interesting thing he said, and it's luck of the draw, and if you have the muster. You know, I remember one dude, he's like top 3 PT athlete in buds, young dude, do hard. I was just like, dude, I would give anything to fucking have your athleticism. He's like, yeah, it's not what I thought it'd be. I'm like, dude, this isn't the SEAL teams. I don't know what the SEAL teams are exactly, but like, this is buds, man. This is boats on heads. They don't do that shit in the real world. He's like, I didn't like it. Like, all right.
Yeah. So then, so after buds, did you get injured at buds, or
no? I quit. I rang the bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that day like?
Mm.
What they have you guys doing?
Yeah. So it was Monday, and that Friday I got boarded, which means I wasn't performing. Something was wrong with me, right? And I go in, it's Bud's instructors. They're like, "Hey, you failed this, you failed." I think I triple failed, like the swim, the O course, which bothers me. I never got my official O course time, but I'm curious how much I failed that by because I was usually pretty good. And I failed the run. I always failed the runs. And they're like, "You're not running Hell Week times. Like Hell Week, you have to meet certain time axes. Like you're not cutting it. So you need to go to the O course this weekend." I'm like, okay. Monday, I'm already feeling pretty down. Monday comes, we go to Chow. I think Monday's field day inspection. I fail field day.
No way.
Hit the surf. I think I failed my uniform. Yeah, that was it. I failed my uniform, hit the surf, and then I passed my room, and then we do lunch, and then we do the 4 mile beach run, and I fail. I'm like last one, and I roll up, and they're like, "Get in the fucking cool down circle." I'm like, "I'm fucking done. Get the fuck away from me." God damn, what do I got to do to quit? And like one of the instructors like, "Wait, what the fuck did you just say?" I was like, "I'm done. Like, what do I have to do to quit?" They're like, "Oh, shit, my bad, dude." I was like, "Wait, what? You were just fucking with me at the uniform inspection." I didn't say that, but I was like, "Wait, what?" I was confused. He's like, "Man, I heard a lot of good things about you. How old are you?" Like, 31. Damn, dude, I'm 31. I'm 31. That's a lot. Man, hope you come back. I was just like, "What did you just say?"
Yeah.
I went up, rang the bell. Same thing, going to a little office. They're just like, "Hey, man, your peer evals were good. Hope you come back. Do you want to come back?" I was like, "Dude, I just fucking quit." And they're like, I'm like, "I want to be a corpsman. I wanted to be a medical SEAL. They're not called corpsmen, but that's what I wanted to do in the teams." And I was like, "I heard horror stories that if I become a corpsman, it's like I'm locked in. I can't get out of being a corpsman." He's like, "No, if there's a will, there's a way. But if you're a dental tech," I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't want to be a fucking dental tech in the first place." He's like, "Don't get conned into being a dental tech." I'm like, all right. So I signed a little thing like, "Yeah, I want to come back to Buds." And it was just super surreal. Like I called my buddy who was a SEAL. He's like, "No, why you call me?" I was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Fuck."
Yeah.
And then make my way to 32nd Street and see all the dudes that quit. I'm just like, fuck. Dude, and like Buds, they feed you big portions, like big glass, whatever. You go to the regular chow hall, and like, "Can I get more?" And they're like, "No." They're like, "What is this little ass cup?" And it's like, it's a normal sized cup. I'm like, fuck, it's super surreal. Started drinking a lot. Yeah.
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 So then became a corpsman.
Yeah.
Went to corpsman school right here in
No. So Corpsman School is in San Antonio, and they
that's right.
train
Yeah.
Army medics and Air Force medics and corpsmen. The Air Force and corpsmen used to have, like, go to the same classes, but they split that up. But they're all still around. You see them everywhere. Army, man, they have a little bit rougher. But yeah, you're in San Antonio. That's where I met my wife. She's not in the military, but met my wife shortly after. And went to Virginia to an ER. Got some pretty good training at the ER. And then I was like, I want to go greenside. I want to like connect this loop, make it full circle.
Yeah.
And it was COVID, and I got it. I was fucking stoked. And then I put a second baby in my wife.
Hell yeah. Right on. So as soon as you left Virginia, you checked into 2-1?
Uh, yeah, kinda. So you go through FMTB to get your MARPATs and like qualify as a field med tech. But I had a pregnant wife, a kid, and I lived in Virginia, and I was getting stationed in Camp Pendleton. And they kind of made a little bit of exception of the rule. They're like, "Well, we just sent a guy, he just failed FMTB, so he's going to go somewhere else. And you want us to move your house over there and your family on the pretense that you're going to pass." I was like, "I'm going to pass. I'm a fucking Marine. Like, not that this is a joke, but like, I'm confident I will thrive in this environment." And I did. That was the first time when They're like, damn, dude, you're prior. I'm like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like before that, I was just some fucking squid in a hospital. No one gave a shit.
Yeah.
So I graduate FMTB down in Del Mar, and then I go to wherever DSO and 33 area. Like, all right, you go 2-1, their deployment's off. I was like, I got a kid about to pop out. And
So this is what, like 2020 or 2021?
2020, I think, at the end of 2020.
Okay.
Yeah. Graduate, check into 2-1, deployment's off. I'm like, oh, thank God. I don't want to deploy. My wife's about to give birth. Go on house hunting leave, and then I go on baby leave. So on house hunting leave, I have a second child. I get a phone call. Hey, you got promoted. Fuck, sick. And then come back. I'm in HNS. Like, you're gonna go to something called CTM. Like, all right, cool. I know what that is. It's combat trauma management. It's like it's FNTB is about, hey, this is how you wear the uniform and some basic good medicine, a refresher for a lot of people of their medicine they've lost throughout the years, being an admin dude. But CTM is about the medicine. It's about high intensity medicine under stress and like pretty accurate shit. And it's during COVID, and we were around a close contact of COVID. I got kicked out. I got dropped from CTM. And while on quarantine, I got a phone call or a text like, hey, deployment's back on. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? I don't want to be an HNS corpsman. I want to be like out with the boys. And they're like, nah, dude, you're good. We got you. So I went to weapons. I went to CAAT Blue. And then I went on Advon with CAAT Blue. It just went so fucking fast. And went out and did a little special mission for a little while. Can't talk too much about. I got pulled from that, and I was HNS for a long time. And then we were all spread out through all whatever hemisphere, and we start getting co-located. They bring CAAT Red and CAAT Blue together, and they're like, all right, you're gonna go to CAAT Blue, back to CAAT Blue. We did some training ops, but it was Army base, COVID. I got in trouble for wearing my mask right here. Like, cops called on me and shit.
Yeah.
It was a fucking mess. It was a nightmare. We're training, the sergeants are training the younger dudes and getting them ready for their advanced schools when they get back. And certain dudes go off and do corporal's course and stuff. Very, it's just like being at Pendleton, but not being able to like leave the base or get out of uniform. Really sucked. There was some amenities, there was a fucking green bean and a Starbucks, and there was a decent gym if you're not getting kicked out for your mask, and there were certain things. And I agree, like, it's not much of a deployment, but for me, I'm separated from my newborn, my impressionable 2-year-old son, and my wife who just gave birth. Like, for me, that's a deployment because I'm away from them. But like the caliber of what we're doing wasn't, oh, you're not a real deployment. Like, I understand that. Yeah.
Right on. So, do you remember when like the Taliban was like taking over Afghanistan and following that whole?
Yeah. I don't like the news, but it's always on in the chow hall. My sergeants, they're my roommates at this point. Yeah, and the Army's thinking they're going to go, right? And in some capacity, they did. But, the Marines are there. They're fucking first to fight. Fucking we hold the shit down. So, like, hey, this is a contingency plan. This is what we're here for on the special MAGTF. But, like, get ready. Prepare your family. And I just remember the air changing. Like, we went to work and we did all Marine things as resource wise. We beg, borrow, and steal. We had batteries. We had, CLP, LSA, everything you need for a machine gun. We were packing up this Connex box, doing that. I'm going through my medical gear again. I'm getting narcotics issued to me. But yeah, we just went to work. A seriousness in the air came over. We got litters ready, and we were on a standby. Pack up your essentials. I had way too much shit at first, thinking like I'm gonna be able to go to the gym or some shit. like go through my bag again, get rid of all the fucking bullshit, and just pack essentials plus a med bag. And yeah, we get the call, we go stage, we sleep on the outside the terminal, and then we get on the plane, and they have to refuel, and we all have to piss in the first place, and like we're overflowing the pisser. We're on the tarmac for like 4 hours, and we finally take off. We land. We do the fucking boot drag to where we're trying to figure out where we're going. I knew the name of the game. I was like, man, this is gonna suck. I'm just trying to prepare myself because we're gonna bounce all around this base, look for a place to sleep. No one's. It's I assume chaotic. We didn't know, but we're just hoofing our gear. Like all these tow gunners and shit just have like this islet and all this fucking shit. It was rough. Find out, hey, we're gonna stay here, and then yeah, we had a my gunny and another gunny were kind of advon. They went on a flight before, which was really useful for us. So as we hit the ground, our gunny appears and it's like, this is the situation, briefing our sergeants. And from what I heard, I was not disinvited to those conversations, but I wasn't the most important person in the room.
Yeah.
So I'd be close by, kind of getting a scope. And basically what I took it from was get it how you live. We're going to be resourceful here. This is this gate and all that. And CAAT Red goes out first, and they go out for like 72 hours. And we're sitting idly by for 72 hours. It's kind of killing us. So we commandeer some vehicles. We commandeer the Army's JLVs, and we create our own mission, and we go out to CAAT Red, and we start picking up people they've screened, and we bring them into the terminal. And then Army got wind because we spray painted Blackbeard on the side of that was our call sign on the side of their vehicles. And they're like,
and where's CAAT Red? Are they at?
They're out at Abbey Gate, outer Abbey Gate.
Okay.
For 72 hours. And for, I'd say about 12 hours, we're trucking people back and forth. And, I'm in the back. All these dudes are all gainfully employed, right? You got your gunner, your A driver, your driver, and then the one vehicle with Doc in the back. And I'm just like, hey, how are y'all? Want some water?
Yeah.
You okay? Everything's going to be okay. I'm just like stuffed up in the corner trying to fit as many people in. We do that a few rounds, and then the Army reaches through our chain of command. It's like, give us our fucking vehicles back. Like, God damn it. Yeah, they actually came out to us when we were taking a pause. And they were like, hey, these are our vehicles. I was like, we should just take off. And our lieutenant wasn't around. And he goes and talks to him, and he like comes storming out. He's like, get our shit, let's fucking go. We do one more round, and then they found our head shed, and like we had to turn that shit over. So then we go out there. We're thinking we're going to do 72 hours, but I think we do about 24. And it's pretty, we're not all the way up at Abbey Gate proper where the real chaos is. We're at a, certain check marks and filters up to us. And it was relatively clean and organized. And
okay.
The Turkish guardhouse was still there.
So you never, up until this point, never really got to like where Abbey Gate was, where all this shit was going on?
We were at Abbey Gate Outer. We visited CAAT Red. We got to, we're picking up their dudes, their, refugees. I got to talk to them, talk to the corpsmen. But we weren't all the way up at the front line, the masses of people. It was a little bit more spread out because at the very end, Abbey Gate was the only one that was open. Yeah. And in the beginning, there was this gate pretty close to where we were sleeping. There's another gate. There's all these different gates. And then they would shut them down, and word would get out. And so I would say like 200,000 people outside of our gate towards the end.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was so many people. And so at first, when CAAT Red's out there, they're like still picking up their trash. It's relatively clean. The porta shitters are usable, and by day, and it's crazy. I think we were only out there like 12 days, but by the end, it was just unrecognizable trash everywhere. MRE stacks just knocked over, water stacks knocked over, porta shitters overflowing, just chaos. Yeah, it was super chaotic.
So you stayed on like the outer of
Yeah.
Abbey Gate
Yeah.
pretty much the whole time you were there?
Not the whole time. So we did first few days there. They're trying to task us. There's so many chefs in the kitchen. Like they're trying to task us, and there's entire battalion, 2 battalions. Different set of Marines on a different deployment. We're out there trying to come up with plans, and it's always changing. And so we have these filter systems where they need this paperwork, they need a passport, and it would change like as the wind blew. And we were getting people that were pre-screened to us, and but then the State Department would go home for the day, and so these people would camp out for a day. It's like, when are we going to get in? We're like, we don't know. We can't tell you. If I guarantee you something, it might not happen, and so I look like a piece of shit. And so like multiple times people are like trying to like, it didn't go far, but like this guy got on some stand and was like trying to like preach to the people and like overrun it. It didn't go far. We didn't even wind up doing anything with him. But yeah, they were up in arms. They were upset, but we had no control over the State Department. And they would be like, some days in the beginning, people would show up with like letters from people and like, that'll work. And then like passports, American only, that's it. And then more people, the filter system kind of broke down. And so at Abbey Gate, there's a big clearing between inner Abbey Gate and Abbey Gate. It was like a kind of a dead zone. And certain times it was full, and certain times it wasn't full. And I remember kind of like sneaking up by myself. I actually ran into my sergeant lieutenant. Like, what are you doing, Doc? I was like, just getting a scope of the situation. Like, all right, don't go too far. And I just remember it was the middle of the night, and like some Lance corporals, just like, these papers aren't good. And it's just like ones and twos people that like filtered through. Some Lance corporals telling this person like, no, we need different papers. Like, what is that Lance corporal trained on besides word of mouth that these papers are good or not good today? I just remember very eerie. And then during the daytime, that area would kind of fill up with people, and all the all the special forces from everywhere around the world were there, and they had their own programs. They had their staging areas, and they would color coordinate. The color of the day is orange. They go out looking for people wearing orange, and they do a caravan back, totally different than us. Yeah, armored vehicles coming in and out all day. We were the guard post standards, so we'd have to, oh, they're good, all right, let them through. And just foreign dudes, like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
We're all working together. Super chaotic, heat casualties. Something that bothered me was the fighting age males would rip water from the women and children. That really bothered me as a corpsman, as a human. And that was one of the last times I actually saw Max and Soviak. It's middle of the day, sun beating down, and I'm taking water out. I'm at Abbey Gate proper.
Is this on the 26th?
No, I'd say a day or so before.
Okay.
And sun's beating down. I'm grabbing 2 cases of water and walking it out to these people that are in this little cami netted area that have been pre-screened but haven't made it past this one area. I'm just having a hard time giving this water out because I see these males and I'm fucking yelling, hey, you fucking give that shit back. And my XO yells at me because my sleeves are rolled. I'm like, sir, is that really what we're worried about? Like, it kind of ended there. I just walked off, and Maxon was like, hey man, you need some help? I was like, if you want to help, go ahead. He helped me hand out some water to like the kids and women, and that was a pretty cool thing he did the last time I saw him.
Right on. And up until like the 26th, did you ever get to like aid someone, like do some medical attention?
Yeah. So heat cases, you know, women and children, elderly out in the sun. It was mainly them. Every once in a while we get a male, and sometimes they'd be faking it because it would get them past the inner gate. And we get them hydrated, and get them making eye contact, and okay, letting the translator, whoever, communicate. Like sometimes they have English speaking, like children or whatever, like this doesn't mean you get to come through. You have to go back out there. And I remember one lady particularly starts crying, and one of our boots, fucking, we're giving out water, and he fucking football throws it, hits a dude in the ear. Fucking, it's like cut open. I didn't have my suture kit. I didn't want to suture in the first place out there. It's pretty dirty. But we pull him back. We're like, all right, sorry we hurt you, bud. He's like, it's okay. Very polite people. And Recon showed up, but trailer. I was like, hey, you guys got like suture kits and shit? They're like, yeah, they're going fucking hard. I've been out there for a few days. I'd say halfway through. They're like, oh, what's her av poo? What's this? Is she diabetic? I'm like, I don't know. She's an old lady. She doesn't speak English. They're like going really hard. I'm like, look, do y'all have it? They're like, we need more information. I was like, you got what you got. You haven't been through that gate right there. I'm not trying to act like a hard ass, but like step outside that gate and then let me know what you think about her av poo. And they're like, oh, you gotta be like that. I'm like, dude. And I quit having guys call me doc. Because they'd be like, doctor, I need help. I'm like, no, I can't help you right now. Unless I see you pass out, I can't help you. Yeah. But we give attention to people we thought needed help, to people we observed being in the sun for way too long, and then children for sure. We definitely try to take care of the children. Yeah.
So the day the 26th, did you and your Marines get briefed on a suicide bomber, or
just like a general word, like there's like an IED, and like I feel like they even said like at this time. I was like, that's such an odd thing for them to know. We were on a rest cycle, so Cat Red was out there, but we got pulled off our rest cycle back out. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? And they're like, there's an IED threat. We're like sitting drinking coffee, and we'd hear flashbangs go off. I go, is that it? Yeah. And then like a big boom. Like I've heard tons of IEDs before on my first Afghan pump. Like, oh, that was different. And fucking pack my shit up real quick. Fucking everybody's grab my med bag.
So you knew right away?
Yeah, everybody knew right away. Yeah. That was such a different boom concussion than everything else we'd heard. Yeah. Like we didn't hear whistles, so it's not arty, but it was a big fucking boom. Like vibration a little bit, I'd say. Like everyone's like, oh fuck, that was it. So go grab my med bag, look at my sergeant Rod, and like, eye contact, like, hey, I'm fucking going. I'm going to the CCP. It was Abbey Gate, outer Abbey Gate. We set up it was a dog kennel and like little guard shack. That was our CCP. So we started taking walking wounded. My co-corpsman Gonzo wound up receiving let's say an infant with a head wound. I think a ball bearing to the head, who I believe survived. A couple dudes walk up. I'm pretty sure the guy you showed me walked up, a hole through his shoulder. Cut the camis off another dude, and he was conscious. I was like, hey man, you got like cell phone, wallet on you? He's like, no. I'm like, I'm gonna cut your shit off. Local national was bleeding from under his man dress, and I like cut it off, and he's like covering his junk up. I felt bad for him, but I was like, this is what I got to do, man. Helping out Miller, the 81's corpsman, treat a guy, I believe, your guy, with a shoulder injury, looked like a bullet, could have been a ball bearing, I'm not sure. Like I told you earlier, like my instinct kicked in, like, oh, I'm gonna stuff this wound. But Miller's like, no, it's not bleeding. You just need to like patch it up. Go fuck. And I had narcotics issued to me. The plan was Cat Red corpsman, here's your narcotics. Cat Blue corpsman, me, here's your narcotics. When you get there, you'll split it up in front of the MO, the medical officer, to your other corpsman. I don't know why that was the plan, but that was the plan. And I'd staged my rifle, my med bag, my Kevlar, and I'm treating patients. And I told Gonzo, at least I think I told Gonzo, hey, my med bag's right there. And I don't want to yell out full of narcotics, but that's the hint. My med bag's right there if you need anything from there. Okay. And I look, and I think I see one of the Cat corpsmen run off by himself with a litter. I'm like, oh fuck no, I'm not letting him go by himself. So I run off with him. I'm pretty close behind him. It wasn't who I was thinking it was. But I get up to, I'd say, 4 or 5 bodies, and there's some dudes standing there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they're like, they're done. I'm like, the fuck no. And one of them's Max and Soviak. He had been drugged from the blast site to that secondary CCP. I'm staring him, rubbing him, and like hitting him in the face, like, wake up, no, fuck no, fuck no. I don't have my med bag, kind of a cardinal rule that kind of fucks me up, but I don't have my med bag. And so I'm just thinking like secondary echelon, next echelon of care. I flagged down a luggage truck we had commandeered. Hey, no, stop, motherfucker. Whatever I did, he stops, and we start putting the guys on there. And Doc Torres rolls up. I'm like, dude, it's fucking Max. Shit, I was like, he's not responding. He tells me, dude, you caught the needle D out of the air when you're moving. I was like, that's kind of cool, I guess. And I put it in place on his right rib, and blood comes out. I'm pretty sure that means his cavity was full of blood. Get to Abbey Gate Outer, and I'm no Kevlar, like yelling like Corpsman, Corpsman. And some of my guys were like, yeah, we were so confused why a Corpsman was yelling Corpsman. But I was like, we have a Corpsman. Get through that gate to that first CCP I was at, and there's like this old school ambulance, like painted tan with a red cross on the side. Like, we got to get them to the fucking STP. We got to get them to the next echelon. Take them, transfer them over. I'm trying to do my Z mist. I don't even think there was a corpsman in the back of that vehicle. They take them to the shock trauma or maybe to the hospital. I'm not sure from there. And then while that truck is there, Huck is like, we need to take him. He's not responding. This dude. So we put this dude on the back of the luggage truck, and we start heading across the tarmac because he's non-responsive. As the Marine's driving, he's not fully paying. He's definitely zoned in, tunnel vision. C-130 is coming down. Just like, you, hey, like tap him on the shoulder. I'm like, fucking C-130. He's like, oh shit. He starts to turn, but by that time the C-130 is diverting. I'm like, all right, fucking keep going. And we think we're going fast. You think you're going fast in like one of these luggage trucks, but you're doing like 20 miles an hour. And like that thing was gonna fucking kill us. That was a little gnarly. I was like, is this gonna end right here with the fucking C-130? So we get him across the street to the hospital. I think we do a turnover with like a Air Force, like PJ or something like that. He had a pulse. He's just unconscious. I think he survived. I know he survived. Yeah, and then me and Huck are just sitting there like, yo, how the fuck do we get back? And a dude named Gunny Tate rolls up in a fucking Hilux. You need a ride? I'm like, yeah. Hop in the back. I'm like, yo, dude, Max. And I don't know if it was like a blanket statement, but he's like, we got him responding. We got him responding. And I think they did have something going on with Max. And like, we get back to my, check in with my sergeants. Like, I'm back. I'm like, all right. Everybody had pretty much been CASEVAC by that point. My XO is like, hey, Doc, you mind just like sitting on this gator, one of those like farm gators, little ATV gators with a bed. It's just full of rifles and Kevlars and like issued gear, like sensitive gear. You mind just like kind of being a guard for this? Like, yeah. So hung out on that for a while. I'd say about an hour. Some dudes come grab their gear that they misplaced or whatever, and eventually I grab a Marine. I'm like, hey man, I need you to be here. Like, I need to go back with Cat Blue. Cat Blue's all posted up on the walls. All the boots are like looking down at everything. And I'm just on a loading ramp, and I'm like on the ramp. I'm on a ramp, and I'm a med bag on, full kit, rifle, and everybody's on post, and we wait the night away. You know, one eye open, uh, and then the next morning at like daybreak, run to the XO. I'm like, hey, I heard something like Max might have like got him back. Like, I don't think so. Just hang tight, don't talk to anyone. I'm like, yeah, of course. But um, that morning, 81st Airborne came, took over. I didn't think that was really gonna. I didn't think we were gonna get out of there, but you know that was beforehand. But 81st came in pretty quickly. They had being airborne, they have planes integral to their unit, so they were going to be the last unit to stand that post. We went back, let's say about 2 days. We slept next to the chow hall, and dudes are just like tagging, like "fuck the Taliban," writing dicks, like spray painting dicks on the wall and shit. And Taliban's gay. Um, I don't disagree with it. I didn't do any of that stuff. And something that bothered me is one of the leaders from my company pulled the NCOs in. I think it was close by, but I didn't really like go huddle up. But he pulls the Marine NCOs in. He's like, this shit, this fucking tagging all this, Taliban's gay, fuck the Taliban, all this stuff. Those guys that died, they wouldn't have wanted that. I just remember hearing that, and it's not that I necessarily disagree with that, but I had an issue with someone speaking for someone that couldn't speak for themselves. For me, if I just died, fuck yeah, dude. Fucking fuck the Taliban, fuck
Yeah.
you, eat pork and die, you know? And I don't have anything against Taliban people. Not Taliban, sorry, fucking Muslim people, but um, that was hard for me to hear because he was speaking for someone that could never speak for themselves again and putting words in their mouth that I didn't necessarily agree with. I didn't necessarily agree with tagging up the whole compound, but hey, in my honor, yeah, go ahead, man. Fucking
Yeah.
fuck all that shit. Uh, yeah, everything was going bad. All the food was going bad, and you know, there's still some Connex boxes, you know, full of food. So we like, and food was, you know, we've been either eating MREs or whatever, um, and so we have the means, and so we're eating whatever we can, and like go get a hot dog or whatever the fuck. And then we go on a mission to destroy sensitive material. So we go throughout our little area. At first, I'm one of the ones like bashing shit, and someone's like, "Chill out, dude. You need to do all that." And then later on, like first sergeant and the CO are fucking bashing shit, just getting some aggression out. We didn't find anything to destroy, but I remember something really fucking funny. So we had cleared our area. It's cat red, cat blue, first sergeant CO right there, and we're just sitting there on a picnic table. Um, and one of my sergeants, I'm not gonna name drop him, just he has like an axe or a hammer or something, and he meticulously goes up to this armored Land Cruiser and he pops all the tires and it's armored windows, and he sits there and he shatters all the windows, the outer layer, so you can't see through it. And he breaks the antenna, he rips the gas cap off and all this shit. And they're like, all right, Cat Blue, let's roll out. We walk away. Cat Red said moments later, some army captain came out with his like little key fob and just like looked at it and just like hung his head, just walked away. I was like, dude, that's fucking hilarious.
What was that? His?
Yeah, was it his? I mean, it was most likely stolen in the first
Yeah.
place, but that was what he was using, and he just meticulously, like a little child with ADD, just like destroyed the whole thing, like unusable, shattered the front windshield and everything. Just like hung his head and fucking walked off. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And then you guys left a couple days later, and then
Yeah. Left a couple. We did the funeral or the parade procession of the caskets. Um, then a day later, a day or so later, uh, we get on a plane and fucking C-130, fly back to wherever the fuck we came from. And then pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
Did some Oscar mental health meetings and a debrief with the BC and another debrief with weapons I was invited to. I had some intuitive questions. And then we had months. Just sat around for months.
Yeah.
Went to a couple training ops. A lot of dudes were working on their FMF pen. I got some of it out of the way, but it was really hard for me to study. Prior Marine, why do I need to do this? And then on top of that, like what just happened? It was really surreal, like sitting in my bed in our room with AC after it all. Just like, man, we were just on the news, you know.
Yeah.
I'm back in a safe spot in Kuwait somewhere in an AC room with sheets and a blanket.
Yeah.
Like it was wild, dude. I think it was like 12 days total.
Wildest 12 days of your life.
Yeah, it's fucking chaos. I remember a boot asking me, he was like, is this combat? I was like, I don't know what this is, but this seems similar. Might be worse. Fucking, you can't fight back. That was really frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you like seek like talking to a therapist or anything like that?
Tried to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. What
Their
happened?
appointments are full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. They at first they didn't want. Hilariously, Victor 2-1 got like, I never met the person, never had a meeting, but from my close friends who spent a lot of time in therapy after dudes, one of my buddies, his staff sergeant was like, hey, hang tight, walked off and got blown up. He's a lot of therapy, and he started off with the Oscar and 2-1 that got assigned to us after the deployment. Not good stories. And also, hey, we're booked, we're full. So I have some things not go my way in my career, and I think I'm getting out. I'm like, all right, I need to start talking, get some of this documented so I can get treatment on the outside or get a benefit or whatever. So my first appointment for mental health, I just want a referral out into town. And I don't want a counselor. I want someone with an actual medical degree. So I reach out. They give me the QR code, whatever it is, the link. I reach out to 3 different people, and hey, we're booked. No, you're a civilian. I can't really blame you for that. Come back. I do something called a PHA, physical health assessment. It's a yearly thing for them to see if you got any owies or boo boos. And I'm drinking every day, 6 days a week, tobacco, not sleeping well. I have anger issues. And I get to my new unit, and then my old unit, 2-1, hadn't screened it. And I want to talk to you, my battalion surgeon. She's like, you doing all right? I'm like, yeah, I'm all right. What's up? She's like, I was just reading over your PHA. You like flagged for like 5 different things: PTSD, alcoholism, all this stuff. I'm like, oh, well, I definitely cleaned up a lot of that stuff. I don't drink or nearly as much anymore. I drink every once in a while. Definitely still have anger issues. She's like, you want to talk to someone? I was like, yes, of course. I was, somewhat exhausted. My, outside referral didn't work out. Let me try. I'm not in 2-1 anymore. Let me try someone else somewhere across base. They weren't tracking. I had an appointment that morning. I beat them to the office. They were late to the office. The chief, I know they have to do their little screener and all this. I'm a corpsman. I know how all that works, but it was a little frustrating. And he's like, count down from 100 in pairs of 7. I was like, 193. I don't know, man. He's like, no, keep counting. I'm like, dude, I can't do this right now. I don't understand the point, and also like, I I don't even know what the next one is, right? Like, do you have ADD? I was like, in high school, yeah. He's like, you ever thought about Adderall? I'm like, I don't want Adderall. He's like, you sure? This is like 15 minutes in. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure I don't want Adderall.
Yeah.
He's like, okay. And then he's talking to me about like, what's the worst thing you've ever been through? And I'll talk about the time my buddies killed a guy in front of me. Um, Probably not the worst thing looking back, but he's just like, okay. And he's like, what's going on, buddy? Why are you so mad? I'm like, I don't know why I'm mad. That's why I'm here to talk to a counselor. And I eventually talked to the doctor. She's like, yeah, definitely. I think you need treatment. And I'm smart about it. I want to learn about what triggers me, coping skills, how to work through some things. I understand a lot of that stuff. I also want to get some of this shit off my chest. And she goes, yeah, I think you're definitely like a priority, but unfortunately, we're just so undermanned and I'm fully booked. But here's some references for how you can reach out in town. I was like, all right, cool, great. And I've never taken them up. Apparently, one of my other buddies, Doc Whitaker, talks about a place I can walk into on base, civilians, and if I explain my situation, I will be a priority and I'll get seen. I have a lot going on. About to get stationed overseas in November, so I gotta get my family, my household goods ready. Um, but I want to go in there. Uh, for a while, everything was, didn't think about it. And then I started doing a couple podcasts of my own. One with this gunny, going over all these things I really forgot about, and we would drink on it on the podcast, help loosen up, and have a kind of brothers in arms type thing. Have a good time drinking with your buddies, talking about some hard shit, and kind of I'm sitting there editing. I'm going through. I'd say I watched the podcast about 3 times per episode through all the editing. Just brought up a lot of shit I just shelved. Um, yeah, it's weird.
Brought a lot of things that you haven't talked about or
Yeah,
haven't really
yeah,
just try to ignore it.
yeah. Just push it to the back. Worry about my family. Worry about my job.
Yeah.
It was really helpful being a senior line. I took over a senior line after deployment, after some months, um, for Gulf Company, the company that got hit the hardest. Most of those dudes had left. I got to meet some of them. Little senior line, I was the head corpsman of Gulf Company for most of a workup. Like they were supposed to pull me before Bridgeport, but we didn't have enough corpsmen, so I stayed in that position and did all of Bridgeport with golf and 29 Palms with golf, and got back and they had enough people to relieve me fully. I had like a co-senior line kind of deal worked out. Um, they went to Coronado for like one more thing, and yeah, I went to my other unit. I was pretty bitter, but that work really helped me um, take my mind off of shit. I built, for the most part, I built Soviax's cross. I have some carpentry skills. I was the lead planner of it. Um,
You took it up there too?
oh no, I was on the movement. I was in the back, but all the Gulf Marines fucking grabbed that shit and fucking like sprinted up that motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was cool as fuck. Yeah, and then we took 3 50-pound bags of concrete up, um, and weighed that thing down. It's got a T at the bottom. So there's like a T at the bottom, and then 3 bags of concrete, and then dirt on top of that. It's made out of treated wood, and we wood burned it and put his tattoo on the side. It correlates his double X. I'm proud of it. But I remember going through something with that. I didn't know him very well, but he didn't have. There's a plaque up there. His name wasn't on it. And so we wanted to, the BAS wanted to make a cross for him. And the idea got thrown up. I wound up taking the lead. I just remember working on that pretty hard, and I just did a podcast with his old senior line and two other corpsmen that were in golf with him. They talked about like, yeah, man, I really wanted to help out. I was really going through some shit. Every time I get there, like bring back some memories, and real hard. I was like, yeah. I remember texting one of my buddies who's in the SOCM, the SARC pipeline, just like not doing too well. He's like, man, just try and focus on the task at hand, complete that. That'll be a really good thing for you to complete, and like kind of step back. And it was, but yeah, it's just life, man. Just gotta deal with it. That's why I like the podcast. I like my different tools. I'm always into something my wife gets annoyed about.
Yeah.
Fucking fiddling with some shit.
You feel like it gets your mind off of other things?
Yeah, I learned that. I learned that when I got out. I learned that from my brother. I learned that from fucking TV. It's like idle hands are the devil's work, and that isolation, or that not knowing what to do with yourself leads to usually not great things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, what's the name of your podcast, and how can people find you?
Security Clearance Podcast. Go right here. Video is on YouTube, Security Clearance Podcast, and then audio on Apple and Spotify. Yeah.
Right on.
I'm proud of it. I started it before the deployment. I rant, I talk a lot, and I would get into these conversations with doctors and nurses and civilians and all these, people in the ER. My assistant LPO is like, you should start a podcast. And the first episodes are terrible. It's like an iPhone, terrible lighting, one mic between us. And my sergeants, my roommates, were like, found out about it on deployment. Like, dude, we should burn some cigs and fucking do the podcast. I don't really have the equipment for that. My wife was the one. She might have regretted this, but she was just like, pull the trigger, man, buy that equipment.
Yeah.
And I figured it all out. That was stressful. Spent all this money on equipment thinking I can run the microphones off of the cameras, and I can't. I need a soundboard. I need a laptop. It was, but I love fiddling with that shit and figuring it all out. And, this most recent one, we wanted to have 4 people on, so I bought an extra camera and an extra mic. Came out good. And now we have the ability to do 4 people, 3 people including me.
That's dope. Cool. I think we can wrap it up with that.
Cool, man.
Oh yeah, appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, hopefully it wasn't too sweaty.